Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town of Delafield Board and Budget Public Hearing. Turn it over to Administrator Green to give us a overview of what our budget looks like for 2025.
Thank you. If you can follow along on the screen, this is essentially the budget that makes up the revenue and expenditures. You can see on the applications of surplus, we are almost 8,000 under budget, which is a good thing, just in case of anything that comes up that we're not prepared for. Just a general overview. The budget is made up of the replacement fund, park and rec donation fund, impact fees, debt service, and debt, along with this general overview. This shows the tax distribution on your tax bill. If you have sewer, school district makes up 65%, the town's portion is 13%, and then the school district without sewer makes up 66%, with the town's percentage going up to 14%. The mill rate comparison from last year to this year, the mill rate does go up from $1.76 to $1.79, and part of that is due to debt service. The other part is due to the assessment ratio also going down. So when we do a reval, you're going to see that $1.79 drop to probably around $1.20. This is the effect on your tax bill from, it should say increase from 2024 to 25, I apologize, but the numbers are correct. So on a $1 million home, the increase I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at. You can see the cost per year, cost per month, and then the increase. So per year on $1 million home, you're going up $33. Any questions on this screen? It's pretty self-explanatory. Thanks. Revenue comparison from last year to this year. See the percentage changes to the right. And I apologize. There's a typo in the 4,455,000. I believe that should just be 5. But it's 1.39% increase. I won't go through every one of these, but the bottom line is the total budget is going up 2.9%. A lot of that is to do with garbage, fire increase, slight police increases, things like that. Expenditure comparison. The bottom line increase of expenditures is going up 3.17% from last year to this year. This just gives kind of a general overview of where the expenditures are in a spreadsheet or in a pie chart. This goes through a general fund summary. Our bottom two are estimated because 2024 year is not over yet, and then the 2025 year is estimated with that close to $8,000 overage for the budget. So you're looking at around an estimated 39% total, and that is compared to total revenues.
So we've consistently grown our rainy day fund.
Yeah. So our 2025 replacement fund transfers to and from replacement fund. We have $79,500. We are transferring out of a replacement fund to do our reevaluation for next year. We've added $30,000 to our highway truck fund. We want to continue to build capital so that we can make those purchases without borrowing. And then we'll be adding roughly $107,000 to the fire department for future budgeting years. I believe we have around $147,000 currently in there, so that'll go to over $250,000 that we can use for following subsequent years. And you can see the projected end year 2025 values. You can see the fire department $254,000. Highway trucks will have just over $100,000. We still have the facilities account with close to $200,000. And we are still in good shape for the reevaluation. If we can just add a little bit more to that, we can be prepared for another reval in the next 2 or 3 years, or however you guys want to do that the next cycle. This is our current debt service. You can see from 23 to 24, it does go up because of borrowing for road projects. You can also see when that debt is going to be paid off. So in 2026, you're going to see some major drop-offs, and then every subsequent year after that, you're going to start seeing these debt numbers come off, which will help you to keep a consistent amount of debt service levy every year until 2034, when you see the big drop-off. That will greatly reduce your total debt service by that point. So general government, there is a 16.65% increase. A big part of that is due to the reevaluation costs. So the assessor budget is going up 155%. There's an election decrease of 40% because you only have 2 elections next year. There's a slight decrease in the administration budget due to decrease in postage and insurance. And then general building will increase 23.18%. That is mainly due to utilities projected to be higher, energy costs, and then we do have $6,900 for a potential website upgrade that we had been discussing this year and hope to execute early next year. And then there is a general increase in insurance costs of 4.76%. That is our building and property insurance, not our health insurance. Public safety's contract went up 5.08%. That's for 5-day-a-week service. Lake Country Fire budget went up 6.09%. I think that figure is still pretty close, right? And then building inspection, because we're anticipating more revenues for building permits next year, that the expenditure went up roughly 13%. Public Works total increase is 2.25%. We're proposing 4% wage increases due to increased WRS contribution rates and increased insurance rates. And then the health insurance increase budget of 20.06%. And then there is also an increase in other operating expenses for the Sean's Deere pickup contract that we used to pay out of our capital budget, but now we just transfer that to more of an operating expense due to it being a monthly occurrence. And capital expenses, in 2024, the town took order of 2 new plow trucks. ARPA funds were used for 1. The other one we used out of our general fund reserves. The revenues from the 2 trucks, we used the revenues also that we sold from the 2 trucks. We do not anticipate needing a new truck until 2028, but as mentioned before, we have reserve funds that we're building for any future purchases. And this is the total levy the motion for the total levy we're looking for tonight, $3,001,535 to be paid in 2025.
Any questions? This is a public hearing. Anybody would like to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to adjourn the budget public hearing and town board meeting and call to order the special meeting of electors pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 65.90, paren 3. I would look for approval of the November 14th, 2023 special town board meeting. We have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, I would look for somebody to make a motion to adopt the 2024 town tax levy to be paid in 25 pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 60.1, paren 1, paren A.
Within us, or with?
Anybody can make the
Okay.
motion.
Yeah, I motion to approve the town levy the amount of $3,100,000 $1,535 to be paid in 2025 pursuant to Wisconsin statute 60.10.
A second.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the town tax levy for 25. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes. Next item would be a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
A second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, we are adjourned. Let me know when you're ready to go into the town board, Mr. Green.
I'm ready.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the Town of Delafield Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you would please call the roll.
Supervisor Mahoney Ogden,
Present.
Supervisor Miller,
Here.
Supervisor Wolfley,
Present.
Supervisor Michaels,
Present.
Chairman Kranek.
Present.
Thank you.
Next item would be citizens' comments, public comments from citizens regarding items on or not on the agenda. The board may not engage in a discussion with the citizens making the comments. Individual presentations are limited to 3 minutes, and citizens shall follow the rules set forth in section 2.04, paren 1, paren D of the town code. Anybody like to make any public comments this evening? Hearing none, I'm going to close the citizen comment period and move to item 5, approval of the October 22nd, 2024 town board minutes.
I would motion to approve the minutes from October 22nd.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes from October 22nd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item would be actions on vouchers submitted for payments. There are no budget amendments for 2024, so I look for a motion on accounts payable and payroll, please.
I motion to approve payment of checks 68034 and check 68036 to 68071 in the amount of $124,886.05.
Second.
Motion and second to approve accounts payable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The accounts payable is approved 5-0. I look for a motion on payroll checks, please.
I motion to approve payrolls dated November 8th, 2024 in the amount of $16,091.32.
A second.
Motion second to approve payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Payroll is approved 5-0. Next item would be communications. Are there any communications?
I just want to announce that I've accepted a position at the Village of Lisbon. So I will have one more board meeting, but my last day technically will be December 13th, but my last day in the office will be December 11th. So my last board meeting will be December 10th. So just wanted to thank all the board members that are sitting up here for all of the just the time and effort that you guys have put into the job and to make my job easier. And to the residents, especially some of the folks that are here tonight, Marilyn and Dick, for all the guidance that you guys have provided over the years, and just looking forward to the future, and hopefully the future is bright for the town of Delafield as well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. Always made it easy to get stuff done. So appreciate the time you put in here.
Thank you.
29 more days, buddy. Let's hit it hard, okay?
No recounts. So.
Next item would be unfinished business, discussion of possible action of the 2025 Lake Country Fire and Rescue Operating Budget and Capital Plan. This was tabled at the October 22nd meeting, so I'd look for a motion to remove it from the table.
I would motion to remove the 2025 Lake Country Fire and Rescue Operating and Capital Budget from the table for further discussion and possible action.
Second.
Motion is second to remove from the table. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? It's removed from the table 5-0. Chief Fenning is here, if he wants to give us a quick, brief overview of where we ended up for '25.
Yep, so as everyone's well aware, the ongoing discussions, basically where we ended up with was a $4,398,484.80 municipal contribution. The fire department is going to use $246,264.91 of fund balance to meet a total operating budget of $6,744,952.64. So what that is that status quo for us for this year. It allows us to do all of give our current employees raises. It does not reduce our head count at all, but it does not add to the head count. So there is a little bit of a change from what was in your packet. It's the total contributions changed by $12. When you run our funding formula, the intermunicipal agreement says 33.333%, which causes a rounding error when you calculate out $4.3 million in it. So it was $12 short on the original calculation that we gave out.
Well, thank goodness you caught that.
I went to Shaniqua for 58 cents last night, so. But here we are. So the town contribution to that is, for your operation side, is $995,911.65. Your capital is $224,423.28 for a total contribution of $1,220,334.93.
Sounds good, Chief. And then just so everybody knows, the policy forum discussion and study is going to kick off on December 2nd. So hopefully we'll get that rolling. So.
Yes, we had a very positive meeting with them yesterday. They're excited to get going on it. Timeline is to do the kickoff in December, start scheduling some meetings. We obviously know how the last 2 weeks of the year roll with everyone's schedules and holidays and vacations and so on and so forth. So get back at it after the first of the year, hopefully have some draft report out in February and some movement forward in March. So
Can you elaborate more what the study, like, just in case anybody's watching, talk a little bit about that study, please?
The policy forum study is a study that was originally requested by the fire department in January of 2022, January, February-ish of 2022. When we kind of saw some of these funding formula discussions starting to happen, thankfully last January-ish or January of 2023 is when we first started discussing it. And last year in January, February-ish of 2024, the community's approved to move forward with it. And it's basically, they're not going to give you the cookie cutter answer that this is how you solved your funding formula. They're going to give you suggestions on things you could do to improve it. They're going to give you best practices of what other communities are doing, North Shores, this is happening all across the state of Wisconsin right now. So they're very well versed in what's working and what's not. And it's just a fresh set of eyes. It's a third party set of eyes to kind of bring some calmness, I think, to the situation. They certainly have a ton of experience doing this. Rob and his team are very much a breath of fresh air into the whole thing. So we're excited to work with them and get them what they need and have some great discussions.
So hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel moving forward with
Correct.
this.
Yep.
And when do we think the tunnel is going to be ending?
That's a,
Yeah.
Results in March?
Yeah, we're hoping to get some results in March, and then we can move forward from there.
Okay.
So.
I think the goal with this whole thing, and it's always been, we knew that 2025 we weren't going to be able to make any changes for 2025. The goal the entire time has been to get data and resolution to this well before the 2026 budget so we can continue to move forward.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you for explaining. I just think if people are watching, they kind of might want to understand a little bit more what's happening and why. Thank you for
Absolutely.
your dedication to it.
Any other questions for me?
Not at this time.
Okay. Dan, just want to say thanks. Thank you. Been great. You've been a pleasure to work with. Luckily, we still have your better half, so we're working at the fire department. No, but seriously, you and the administrators, you're top notch, and you've been just excellent to work with, and I appreciate the candor that we have and the relationship where we can call each other and just be like, hey, we need to do this and that, and it's worked great, so I appreciate it.
Well, you can still call me, I just don't know how much help I'm going to be.
Oh, you'll be a lot.
Next item, new business, discussion, possible action.
Do we want to make a motion on the Lake Country Fire budget?
Oh, yeah, that would be good. Look for a motion to adopt the 2025 Lake Country Fire and Rescue Operating and Capital Budget.
Motion to adopt the 2025 Lake Country Fire and Rescue Operating and Capital Budget.
A second.
Motion is second to adopt the 2025 LCFR Operating and Capital Budget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It is adopted 5-0 by the town of Delafield. Next item, new business, discuss and possible action on the reappointment of John Schrader to the Lake Country Fire and Rescue Commission for the 2-year term. He's done a really great job, and he would like to be reappointed.
He's been really dedicated.
Good job. So, I mean,
Yeah.
no questions, right? Motion to approve the reappointment of John Schrader to the Lake Country Fire and Rescue Commission for a 2-year term.
Second.
Motion is second to reappoint John Schrader. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? He is reappointed 5-0. Next item, discussion and possible action on the request from the Retreat Development LLC to reduce the letter of credit for the Retreat subdivision based on post-substantial security period expiring on December 2024. Engineer Barbeau?
All right, so this is the Retreat subdivision. It's the one at the east end of Norms Road off of Elmhurst. It was constructed over the last year and a half, 2 years about. I think it's been about 2 years. And we always hold a letter of credit. And in our developer's agreement, we have a requirement that they have to make a request for a final reduction of the letter of credit. Because of state law, we can only hold their letter of credit for 14 months. And after what we call final completion, they did their final paving and shouldering last October. And so we are at the point where we need to release that final letter of credit. There's about $88,000 that we are holding, which is basically about 10% of the completed work. All the work is completed. Donnie has stated that he accepts it, I accept it. And so we would, in essence, be releasing the letter of credit. There is a 2-year guarantee on the improvements, and so there still would be a 1-year guarantee, but there wouldn't be any funds behind it, let's just say. But if something goes wrong up there that's substantial, that's based on workmanship and workmanship on the roads or something like that, we can always come back to the developer and request that they meet their guarantee on that. Or the recommendation is to approve the reduction of the balance of the letter of credit. Dan's got
Not really calling
Dan's
it a
got the form.
release. Is our right terminology release or just for reduction of the balance still?
It's actually a release of the letter of credit, yes.
Okay.
I'm so used to reducing it,
Motion to release the letter of credit from Retreat Development LLC based on the substantial security period ending December 2024.
Second.
Motion is second to release the letter of credit for the Retreat subdivision. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The letter of credit is released 5-0. You're welcome. Next item, discussion and possible action on the final plat for Welshire Farms. Engineer Barbeau.
going to clarify that. It's Welshire Farms Edition Number 1.
Okay.
Okay, so the Welshire Farms subdivision, that particular name of that subdivision is actually the 8-lot subdivision that is off Crooked Creek. That final plat you approved that, I think, about a month ago.
Yep.
And now they had submitted their final plat for the rest of the balance of it that they're working on out there right now, which is at the corner of Glen Cove and Gulf Road. And they call that Welshire Farm Edition Number 1. Obviously, as they move through the phases of the development, they'll have other additions to that particular subdivision. So they submitted the final plat back in September. The town board has 60 days to take action on that plat. The plat is in substantial compliance with the preliminary plat. You will note, if you looked at the plat, you'll note that there are some large lots there, lots 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Those are actually lots that are going to be set aside for condominium development. And that will be, when the condominiums get built, they'll do a condominium plat that gets recorded with Waukesha County. And that's for for that development. There won't be individual lots there. It'll be a condominium plat, which is a process that's defined by the state law. Some of the features in this particular subdivision that I wanted to point out, Outlot 4 is set aside for a private neighborhood park. Outlot 8 is being created for the construction of a clubhouse. The plat includes public access to Outlot 5. It's a public access is going to be a path through Outlot 5. That was in all of our development evaluations earlier this year. Outlot 5 contains a tree preservation easement, so the trees that are out there are preserved on that plat. They have several notes as well as they define that area. We require standard notes on the plats. One of them is that the town will not be a party to a construction of any kind of sound barrier wall. I know that they're putting up berms, they're putting them up pretty high, but if at any time someone wanted to put up one of those big walls like they do in Milwaukee, we don't want to be a part of that. We want is try to make it, we don't want to become that urban out here. At least that was the intention a long time ago. So we require a note that says, we're not going to be a party to it. We're not going to pay for it. If our citizens request it, it's going to have to be, it might be the DOT at some point in time, but if it ever happens.
I would just, can we clarify that? I mean, that might have been in the past, but unfortunately, we became urban. So I think that I see why we might say the town might not want to pay for it, but if the DOT wanted to do it, I don't have any problem with it, I guess.
Right, we may not have control on that, though, but we don't want to be a party to that,
Where is that, Tim?
It's going to be a note on the plat, on the actual plat, the drawing.
So I guess, can you clarify what you mean by a party to it? I mean, pay for it, I understand, but just having to agree with it,
Well,
that part I don't agree with.
If a citizen would come in and say, we want to put up a wall, then the town would say, well, we don't want any part of it. We're not going to support it or not support it. You know, we're not going to be a party. We're not going to pay for it. We're not going to build it. We're not going to do anything with it. That was kind of the intent. It's somewhat vague. You know, the language is somewhat vague.
Yeah, I disagree with it. I guess I'm on board now. I would probably, again, I'm in agreement with it. We wouldn't pay for it.
Yes.
But I disagree with your comment that we don't want to become too urban because we did by putting this in. So if DOT and there is enough hoopla around that they want to put up a wall, I would be willing to be listening as opposed to saying, I don't want to be a part of it. So that's my comment on it.
Okay.
Just hearing you speak.
Okay.
I don't agree with
All right.
some of the past decisions that might have been made.
The plat does have a 100-foot landscape buffer along Glen Cove and Gulf Road. That's shown there. There are a number of drainage easements for storm sewer that are on the plat. The street names are shown on the plat. There was one change from the preliminary plat to the final plat, and that's Caldecott Circle North and Caldecott Circle South. And I think that was a different name on the preliminary plat. All the lots meet the dimensional requirements for the zoning for that particular subdivision, so it meets all the requirements. I have not gotten, or the town has not gotten comments from the county. I am aware that the plat was sent to the city of Delafield, and I believe that Monday night they're going to approve it. I think that their planner has said that everything's okay, so they'll probably approve that. That's extraterritorial plat jurisdiction that they have for that. I put together a letter for their surveyor. I believe that's in the packet, and those comments have to be addressed as well. So the recommendation that went to the Plan Commission was to approve the final plat, subject to the developer addressing all the comments from the town, the county, if the city had any, which they're working on. It was a minor name change on the plat for the city. For their mayor. So subject to all those reviewing agency, getting their comments addressed before we sign the plat.
And do we have any wiggle room, or what's your opinion on the fact that Glen Cove and Gulf? So from the beginning, I was disagreeing that we put the lots right there because I thought we needed to be planning ahead for a potential roundabout because nobody wants to acknowledge we have a traffic issue, but we do. So when finally it might get acknowledged that we do, and DOT comes in, and the, you know, and the state and the county, like, oh, yeah, this would be a good place. So is there anything we can be putting in our notes, like what you just said, we don't want to be privy to this, but I mean, that we acknowledge? That's my only concern about, I'm quite concerned about that corner, because to me, it was a perfect place for a roundabout, and I know Newman didn't want to talk about it when I brought it up, but
Well, if the state or the county ever came back for some kind of improvement at that intersection, then they would have to decide if they want to purchase land to make that happen. You know, the lots that we saw in the preliminary plat are exactly where the lots are in your final plat. So we don't have an opportunity to change where the lots are. There is the 100-foot buffer where the berm is, and that there may be opportunity if the state or the county wanted to purchase some of that land and create that roundabout, or some other type of improvement, they could do that potentially within that 100-foot buffer. But they would have to, the DOT does this all the time. They'll buy
Right.
the land, they'll assess it or
It's a
appraise it
taking,
and purchase the land.
Yeah, I think
so
it's-
my question is there anything with my vote that I don't want to incriminate the town for voting for something when potentially this might come up? So that's what I guess I'm asking for your recommendation specifically on that issue. So by me agreeing and approving it, I just don't want to do anything that.
We're approving the plat as you see it.
which is in substantial conformance of the preliminary
Preliminary
plat, which
plat,
was.
yeah. I can't speak for, setting up for a roundabout in the future when we really don't know if that will work, or if the state or the county. The county has said that they don't need it there.
Yeah.
If you remember the traffic study, their conclusion was it's not needed. Now, if they determine it's needed in the future, then they may have to purchase land for that. So I guess the issue is, I don't think the town board, I don't think we can see into the future to say, I don't even know what note we would put on there that says, if a roundabout goes in, then I don't know what that would say. I'm not sure exactly what.
Okay,
what
that's
kind of
what
note
I'm
would-
asking you. I'm just
Yeah.
bringing it up again, just, as we're signing off on all these things. I just
Yeah.
don't want to lose sight of that potential.
Yeah. So I don't have a recommendation as to what language would be
To put in a
on that
note.
plat there.
Okay.
So. Any other questions?
And where do we stand as it relates to the county comments? We've received none. City's taking it up Monday. Are we approving it subject to?
We're approving it subject to getting the county's comments and the developer addressing those comments and addressing my comments before, Edward and,
I'm not signing
Yeah,
it until
yeah.
everybody's signed
Yeah,
off on
yeah.
this thing, so.
and I wouldn't that's how it, yeah. So the final plat for the other location has not been signed either, to my knowledge. It's not in yet, so. And they can't sell lots officially until that plat has created those lots.
What do you mean by the other location?
The 8 lots.
The
off of
8-lot
Hartsburg.
Okay,
subdivision,
okay.
they can't, technically, they can't sell those lots. I mean, they can't do the real estate transaction because those lots have not been officially created.
They're on MLS.
I know.
Yeah, they just can't
I'm just
close
saying
them, yeah.
that a legal standpoint,
Those lots don't
someone
exist.
can't own that land because those lots are not created. And once again, Edward has not signed the final plat on either of them. And he won't until, usually what happens is that whoever's in either the administrator or the clerk would always ask me, is everything done? Is everything checked off? Before we sign it. And so I'm always checking the last document that ever comes in for that plat to make sure that it's correct.
Okay.
Chairman, would you like us to table it and wait for the rest of the?
No,
Or would you like us to move forward?
I think, there's the state statute that we're up against, and, all the other agencies are gonna have to provide their comments and sign off on this, and it is in substantial conformance of what we agreed to in the preliminary plat, and like the 8 lots off of Crooked Creek, I think we should just approve this so that we're in conformance with the state statute and let the other agencies work through their comments. And I think the developer understands that they need to work with the other agencies to address, our engineer Barbeau's comments, the town's comments, the Waukesha County's comments, and the state of Wisconsin's comments to ensure that everything's in conformity before anything gets signed and recorded.
I would motion to approve the final plat for Welsh Hill Farm Edition Number 1 dated September 10th, 2024, subject to addressing all review comments by Engineer Barbeau in letter dated October 17th, 2024, and any other comments from reviewing agencies, including the City of Delafield, the State of Wisconsin, and Waukesha County, prior to executing the final document.
Second?
Motion second to approve the final plat for Welsh River Farms Edition Number 1. All in favor, say aye.
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 No.
Opposed?
Aye. I'm opposed to it.
How did you vote, Supervisor Mahoney Ogden?
Yes.
So it passes 4-1. Next item would be discussion and possible action on a second amendment to the Lake Country Fire and Rescue intermunicipal agreement to exceed the CPI +2 constraint as outlined in Article 5, Section I.1.c of the intermunicipal agreement. This is essentially what we did last year. We are exceeding CPI +2. And at our desk, we kind of have Appendix A that shows how the budget is going to be laid out. So I would look for a motion to,
This is really just a follow-on from our approving the budget,
Yes.
right? So I would motion to approve the Second Amendment to Lake Country Fire and Rescue intermunicipal agreement.
Second.
motion second to approve the amendment to the LCFR intermunicipal agreement. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item, discussion and possible action to amend the 2024 fee schedule, increasing the dog license fees by $2 based on a Waukesha County increase. Do you have anything to add, Administrator Green, or?
I think the item says it all. The county is increasing our dog tags by $2, so we want to reflect that increase. We're not increasing it by any more than what we're being charged by the county. This is due to, I think there was a claim in the village of Lisbon regarding a dog that attacked some farm animals, and per state
yeah.
statute, there is a there's a reserve fund that's held in Waukesha County for instances where this type of thing happens. So they had to give a payout to the owners of the animals. Subsequently, basically taking all those funds out of that account. This will be to replenish the account. So in turn, the licenses were increased by the county, and so that's the only thing we're looking at changing right at this point. I need to get this done as soon as possible because tax bills go out, and I need to have the correct form with the correct dollar amount. So
Motion to approve the increase of dog license fees by $2 based on Waukesha County's increase.
Second. Oh, go ahead,
Motion
Nagin.
second to increase the dog license fee by $2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Dog fee license is increased by $2. 5-0. Discussion of possible action on municipal service agreements with Hawes for 2025 to 2027.
here, this is a 3-year contract with Hawes. We do this every so often. It's basically this supports and funds the Humane Society of Waukesha County to provide services for our residents, provide services for us. I actually talked to Supervisor Mahoney Ogden before the meeting a little bit about, Hawes still charges people to come out, yes, but this helps fund the staffing that they have there. Consider it similar to LCFR. You're paying LCFR, but if you call out 911, you're still paying a fee. So this is our contract with them to service our residents.
And no change in the,
No, it may have gone up like $150, but no substantial change.
Nominal
And it's-
change, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's and it's budgeted for in our.
And then a
budget.
reminder to let them know that we raised our fee, our license, because they always keep record of that too.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
and
if they get an animal.
They're
that
probably gonna
isn't
get a-
licensed.
An abundant
Yeah.
a number of changes from throughout the county, so I'll let them know. Thank you.
Motion to approve the service agreement with Hawes for years 2025 through 2027.
A second.
Motion is second to approve the agreement with Hawes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item is discussion of possible action on the approval of a contract for police patrol services between Waukesha County and the town of Delafield for 2025 to 2029.
You want me to take it, or? you
I
want
just
me to-
say, we
The
covered
cost
this
just
in
went
the,
up, right? We talked about it in
Yeah,
the
it's
budget.
just short of 6% increase from last year to this year. It is a 5-year contract
Say- Just say,
initially.
one- I just couldn't hear you. Say it one more time, what you just said before the increase?
It's just short of a 6.9, or just short of a 6% increase. is all I'm saying.
Increase. Annual.
Just from last year to this year.
Okay.
So it is a 5-year contract. We initially had a 2-year contract. The reason for the 2-year contract is because we didn't know whether we could continue to fund a 5-day-a-week service, and this was prior to shared revenue with those increases. So we have a way of funding this for years to come, at least for the next few years. I don't know if, increases in other costs will, chew into the shared revenue or not. So it's really up to the board whether they feel comfortable with a 5-year or not. I can say that we didn't have any problems budgeting it for this year, but if capital expenditures for the fire department go up or other expenditures go up, you might be in a bind. You may have to consider borrowing for fire capital, similar to the city, or,
Is there any upside to us contracting out across multiple budget cycles?
That was it. Thank you for bringing that up, Supervisor. That was sort of my questioning too, so I did want to talk about what's the plus of doing it this way.
I don't know if they'd increase the cost by shortening up that span or not. We
mean,
can
it-
certainly go back and say we feel more comfortable doing a 2-year.
The
just
cost
because
fixed for 4 years?
It's not fixed, no. It'll go up, I'm sure, roughly 5% each year.
I mean,
And what's
it's,
the reason for, I'm
I
sort of
think
going
they
down
want to.
that
I think
same-
they want to lock in the
they wanna
contract.
know, but-
Yeah. And
They could plan for staffing.
which is fair.
yeah,
Which is fair. It's hard for us to go out beyond state budget cycles, right? Because we're so dependent on
right.
shared revenue funding, right? And we're in year 2 of a state budget cycle, so, we'd sort of have to predict what happens in August in Madison and then feel good for 2 years after that. I mean, it's fine.
Well, I know the purpose for them wanting to know is the same reason why we would want to know where our revenues are coming from for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
The question is, do we know where our revenues are coming from for the next 5 years?
I just
I-
also don't see an appetite to decrease
No, I mean,
the service level.
I think now that we're at 5 days a week, it's going to be hard pressed for somebody to vote against 5 days a week. There are revenue streams, with the Thomas Farm development continuing the next 5 years, you're going to see more revenue streams coming in. So I'm confident that you guys will be able to keep it in your budget. for the
Well,
next
I mean,
5
it's
years,
not,
but-
it's not like we'd go from 40 to 0, right? I mean, if the cost became burdensome, we
Right.
would adjust it in some sort of way that made it
We added
work, right? I mean,
2 days prior, correct?
We did, yeah.
1 day prior.
1 day prior.
No,
I thought it was 2.
we had 2 days.
Yeah.
We had 1 day originally, and then I think we went to 2 days in 2019.
Okay.
And then we've had that until last year or 2 years
What was
ago.
the main reason in 2019 that we made the change, since I wasn't on then? What was the,
Wasn't here
what
The
was
either.
main
so-
driving force to make the change from 1 day a week to 2 days a week was due to people complaining about speeders on Maple Avenue, Imperial Drive, people, saying, hey, I don't see a squad car, people concerned about public safety. So the board at the time said, let's go 2 days a week, and then that didn't really, solve it, because we were technically getting like 14 hours of coverage in dedicated town coverage, and we're all fully aware of the budget crisis going on at the county level, and the statutory coverage is something that we just can't, count on anymore. So that's why we went to the 40 hours a week to get the 5-day coverage, dedicated, deputies and the car, just because it's important to have the public safety and to be able to address the concerns in the town and the concerns of, the super speedways that we have in some areas of the town, so. And I think it's working out really,
Yeah.
really well. I haven't heard anybody complain that, any issues with the deputy or the sheriff's department, so.
So it's more speeding, that was my question. It's not so much that if people were concerned about safety in their homes or property, it was more of a roadway type of thing.
I think the general
All the
presence.
above, yeah.
I think the general presence of law enforcement is a happy deterrent to anybody just, looking around to do anything nefarious. So I'm happy to have them here for 40 hours a week. Or more, if you're bored.
Yeah, I mean, there's other issues in the town besides speeding and traffic violations. There's a lot of, mental health issues, and you hear calls similar to the city or anywhere else where, violent calls or just mental health or, even traffic incidences, things that it's nice to have that car that has Town of Delafield on it. I think it gives a little sense of community.
Definitely. I agree.
And it's nice to also have that direct contact with our sheriff's deputy as opposed to just knowing that they're in the area but not knowing exactly where. So you can give them those points of where you want them to maybe take more precautions or maybe sit in a certain area for a certain time because we've had complaints. It's a direct line to where we can get somebody where we need them.
That's
at least 5 days a week.
Even while waiting for speeding or speeders, it's not necessarily like they're doing it 9 to 5, right? I mean, Sunday night there was a squad on E just south of Silvernail, right? I mean, that's like it's probably it was Monday night, yesterday. So yesterday, and it was 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I was coming home and saw them there. So, it's a good thing to have around, and especially as maybe they're sitting there waiting for speeders, but you never know what happens in the meantime. So
My question was more originally, yeah, I mean, I understand now our world has evolved and the needs have gotten more vast than they were even in 19. So I just was more curious what happened in 19 that made us do it. That was my interest.
gotcha.
And
Well,
I guess I still go back to this whole thing is there any, so if we just did it for 2 years, is that something that we're kicking around perhaps that was just my gut feeling, is it seemed like a longer time until we still.
Talking with Olinger, Ed and I met with him when we were talking about this, and it seemed that 5 years was the standard, is what
I got the
they
impression that
described
it
to
was
us.
5 years was the standard. They weren't really willing to go much shorter than that, and good service. And
So we did 2 more because we knew we had 2 years to know how to pay for it, and that was why we did 2.
At the time, we thought we had to go to referendum until funding changed from the state level. And I guess something to consider is that shared revenue is only, well, I don't think it necessarily affects us, but it could down the line that if you decrease staffing in fire or EMS, that could potentially be an issue for
Well, I think law
keeping that shared
enforcement too,
revenue. Yeah. But I don't think that applies to our size community. But that could always change, so.
Motion to approve the contract for police patrol services between Waukesha County and the town of Delafield from 2025 to 2029.
A second.
motion is second to approve the patrol service contract between the sheriff's department and the town of Delafield. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item would be discussion and possible action on the approval of the proposed 2025 town operating and capital budget as presented during our budget public hearing.
Just so you know, you have the budget book, it'll change by whatever amount the chief gave us. Was it $6?
$12.
$12, sorry.
$12 total.
thought that was
but our
12 total. I
contribution
thought
is
our
different.
con-
Yeah, our
yeah.
contribution is
So
different.
24% of $12. So I will get the amended version out to you guys sometime at the end of this week, and it'll be posted online if it's approved.
You don't need to print the amended version for me for
thanks.
$12. Please don't.
Online.
Yes.
Yes, I would motion to
I've- oh,
approve the proposed 2025 town operating and capital budget.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the budget for 2025. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Budget is adopted 5-0. Next item, we have a closed session posted on our agenda. The basis for this item to be discussed in closed session is as enumerated in section 19.85, paren 1, paren C of the statutes, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, more specifically, the filling of the administrator clerk treasurer position. I'd look for a motion to enter into a closed session. If you would call the roll call, please.
You want
I will
to,
motion to convene in closed session for consideration of employment, promotion, compensation, more specifically, the filling of the administrative clerk treasurer role.
A second.
Motion and second to enter into closed session.
Supervisor Mahoney Ogden,
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Supervisor Michaels,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolfley,
Aye.
Chairperson Kranek.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we're,
Okay,
now you can make your motion.
I will motion to authorize Chairman Kranek to offer the position of Town Administrator to the candidate reviewed in closed session at a salary not to exceed the current administrator's salary.
Second?
Motion is second to authorize chairman to offer position to candidate reviewed in closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, my aye is just that I will be looking forward to have a conversation as you guys did prior. Then it's an aye. But I would like to talk with her first.
Motion passes 5-0.
Uh,
Next,
Motion also to share the,
No motion, our only other action is direction to share the job description with the board.
I'll send that to you tomorrow.
bring us to adjournment?
announcements, planning items. The Town Hall is closed for the Thanksgiving holiday, Thursday and Friday, November 28th and 29th. We do not, there is no Plan Commission meeting until January. The Town Board will meet again on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, unless a special meeting is required prior to that. And then the Town Hall will also be closed Tuesday and Wednesday, December 24th and 25th for the Christmas holiday. Next item, item 12, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
A second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned 5-0.